Hey you guys, this is Rafael from Relics.com. I hope you're all having a good day. I hope things are getting a little better for you because I'm optimistic, sometimes foolishly optimistic, but I'm hoping that everything is going in a positive way for you guys today. Today we're going to talk about a sword that is neat, it's still relatively affordable, and they display quite well for what they cost compared to a lot of other swords. Today we're going to talk about the US Model 1840 Musician's Sword. Yes, you heard that correctly. Musicians had swords. They didn't make a ton of them, but there are several of them out there, and they're still relatively affordable. The sword itself began in 1840, and interestingly enough, the first U.S. contract to make these swords didn't go to an American. It went to S&K, Schnitzler, and Kirschbaum in Solingen, Germany. They made the first ones for the U.S. government. They made them in 1840. They contracted them over there like they did several things at that time. They're patterned actually after a European sword. During the 1830s, the U.S. government based a lot of their swords on European patterns, and a lot of them were made over there. This one is the first pattern that was made in the U.S. for musicians. It's the Model 1840, but they didn't have the first contract until 1846. In August of 1846, they ordered them, and they made them from 1846 until 1865. The last contract got fulfilled for 500 of them on April 13th, 1865. This one was made in 1853, which is a lot tougher to find, but they're a little less desirable than the war date ones. People like that Civil War date on stuff. This one was made in 1853 and is marked on the blade like this. It's got the Ames maker mark, and for 2 years they'll show up with all capital letters like this for the maker's mark. The later ones will have a scroll style design and the Ames maker mark in Chicopee, Massachusetts. This one is a tough one to find. They don't show up as much in those in-between dates because there was nothing going on and they just didn't make as many of them. They made 1853, they actually made 400. I think I said 500, but they made 400 of these in 1853. That's the order line. God bless whoever's calling. I'll catch you guys in just a second. Sorry about that, but that's the way I pay the bills. I love doing these, but I have to sell the stuff to pay the bills for my family and feed my family. So with a one-man show, what you see is what you get. I appreciate those calls. Never stop ordering because I don't want to get another job. I like what I do and I enjoy getting to be with you guys. Back to the Model 1840 Ames Musician Sword. There were several makers that made these during the war. They just couldn't make enough of them at Ames to fulfill all the need that the U.S. government had. These swords were made mostly as decoration. They're small, they're thinner blade than most of them, but they could be used as a weapon. I've actually had a few of them that were excavated on Civil War campsites and battle sites over the years. So they weren't just something to leave at home, they were put into service. The sword that we see is often mistaken for a non-commissioned officer's sword because the handguard looks very similar. If you notice, the handguard on both the NCO and this musician has a single branch on the guard. The quick way to tell a musician's sword from a non-commissioned officer's sword is the cross guard or the lack thereof. An NCO sword will have a piece that looks like this. It's a clamshell on both sides to protect the hand a little bit more. The musician's sword does not. It looks like this. So that's a quick way to tell. The NCO sword actually has a little bit longer blade. On the Ames made one, the NCO sword is 32 inches in length. The musician's sword is only 28 5/16 inches in length. So two things that you can look for very quickly. Because this blade is a little bit thinner, a little bit more delicate, So is a scabbard. And the scabbard on these, generally, all of the makers show up with leather and brass. Emerson and Silver in Trenton, New Jersey used a steel and brass scabbard. So those you expect to see the scabbard with. These, the scabbard, the leather would break, especially having that much length to the blade. The weight of the brass drag breaks those fairly easily. And one thing while we're talking about it, wasn't going to do this. If you ever have a leather scabbard, you always want to protect the end. You want to hold it where it's braced. And if you're putting a sword in and out of a leather scabbard, you want to hold it one of two ways. You want to put it in straight up and down where there's no pressure on that drag. This is called the drag. Obvious reasons, drag's the ground if you're short. You want to protect that. Either do it that way or lay it completely flat. And that way there's no pressure on that drag. Because a lot of times when you see those scabbards and they're missing that drag, it's because somebody that didn't know what they were doing picked it up and broke it for all eternity. So I hate guys that tell people what to do at shows. So if you see some, I almost cussed right there. If you see some moron that is about to break somebody's scabbard, say, hey, don't do it that way. Hold it straight up and down or lay it on a table. There's a little tip for the day. But the swords, the blades, shorter length on musician, longer length on NCO. The handles are both made out of brass, and they basically have the brass hand grip with the little pattern that's made to look like a rope twist. Gives a little better grip. Brass handguard. Neat swords, affordable swords. You can find them without the scabbard, usually under $400 tops. With the scabbard, you can find them under $600. That's a lot of sword. If you collect swords, you realize there's not a lot of really cool swords that you can get under $600. This is one of them. So if you go on to ShilohRelics.com, as I hope you do on a regular basis, because I don't want to get another job. I want to do this for a long time more. If you go onto there, I've got some with scabbards. I've got some without. I think I've got one that some broke the drag off the end of it. So if you get a chance, go on there, look around. There's a lot of affordable swords relatively affordable swords, under $500 on the website, because I like them in all conditions. I like them in all shapes and sizes. I am always glad to help. I always do a layaway on anything over $100. We do a third down. We do another third in 30 days and the balance in another third, because I understand a hobby can't always be paid for immediately. I was very fortunate. My first US buckle was $48, and Larry Hicklin let me make 3 payments on it because he knew I didn't have $48. And I never forget that. I want you guys to know that I'm always appreciative, whether you're buying a $10 bullet or you're buying a $150,000 cannon or uniform. I appreciate you. And there's nowhere you can spend the money that it will be more appreciated than here. I hope that y'all have a great day. I know things are crazy now. I know we see things on TV and on the internet that just are insane. They're absolutely insane. Some people have lost their mind. Don't let idiots and the idiots' actions make you stop being a good person. You cannot affect how stupid some people are, but you can affect how you respond to those stupid people. I love y'all. Somebody out there cares. And remember, when you get a chance, please be kind, because God knows we need it. Love y'all. Bye.